Hey guys, we got a video here from Watch Mojo today. Apparently these are the top 30 most frustrating video game levels of all time. So let's take a trip down memory lane and have a little PTSD.
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
Welcome to Watch
Always
Mojo,
CJ's
and
fault.
today we're counting down our picks for the video game levels that frustrate us beyond belief, whether through their difficulty, poor controls and design, or both. We won't be including any levels that solely consist of a boss fight.
Yeah, that's fair enough, I think. They are kind of a separate category.
Number 30, Path of Hades,
Ah.
God of War. At a certain point in Kratos' first adventure, he'll be sent to the underworld, and his only means of escape is through an agonizing platform section. In between groups of enemies, players must jump between tiny platforms and walk precariously along spinning cylinders with giant blades sticking out of them.
Yeah, I mean, good luck if you ever made it to this point, because I've got the HD version on PS3 of the original God of War game. And you've got those awesome sections in the whole thing, which is like brutal hack and slash and, action sequences. But then you've got like platforming sections, which are a little bit confusing on camera, as well as some annoying puzzles. Yeah, I didn't make it this far. I mean, kudos if you did. The whole game was pretty frustrating.
Or brush against a blade, Kratos falls to his death, which is going to happen a lot.
I mean, just it's not just a hard game. Good game, though. I mean, they obviously got better the further they got along.
Throwing in an obstacle course like this, with little to no platforming in previous levels, annoyed a lot of players.
Sure.
The very worst part comes in at the end, where you must make a long climb up one of those rotating blade cylinders.
Oh, jeez.
Getting knocked down to the bottom is enough to make you rage.
I mean, at least you can play this on a PlayStation 2 emulator now and use save states, I guess. Oh, I
Number
couldn't do it
29,
legit.
Fair Play.
Oh, right.
Mafia.
Oh, it's like old school F1 by the looks of it. The Alberto
When
Ascari.
13 chose to remake Mafia, director Alex Koss stated one of the most prominent questions from players was whether they fixed this mission. That alone should tell you just how infamous it has grown over the years. The problem comes at the end of the mission, where you must win a race. Something about the physics and handling of the 1930s cars just doesn't mesh well, and the sharp turns only add to the supreme annoyance in anyone trying to come out on top.
Shit! On the Angelo, takes the lead. What? Aggressive driving from Angelo.
It seems so simple, right? We've all played racing games before. Well, this isn't that. And every loading screen after every fail just let us stew in our anger.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, going by this game, it looks
Number
like
28,
you're literally
Parking
trying
Garage.
to control a brick, right? And speaking of trying to control a brick, we're going to mention Driver on the next game as well. I have the Mafia Definitive Edition. So far, I've really only dived into the third one. I don't really have any desire to play the first one now after watching this.
Tutorial. Driver. Tutorials are a necessary feature for games that teach players the basics. Some may be boring, but they're usually helpful. That is, except for the case of Driver. Before you get into the story about an undercover cop in a criminal organization, you have to pass a test to prove you can be a getaway driver. Said test takes place in a parking garage, where you must perform a series of maneuvers in an extremely short time frame.
Yeah, I mean, I had to do this because I wanted to stream Driver on my channel, right? And so I remember I was trying to take care of all this garbage because I knew I wouldn't be able to do it live. And thankfully I was using an emulator because I could save after certain successes and things like that. But I mean, even doing and planning that ahead, I mean, it took me like 30 minutes to get through this tutorial level, trying to do everything from the slaloms to the 180s to 360s. The 180s the reverse 180 was the hardest one to do because I just couldn't figure out the mechanic on the control. But the worst bit is, I mean, you don't even need to use all these moves and I guess you could say set of skills when you're playing the actual game. You could just drive around as normal and outrun cops. So I don't know why all these activities were necessary. It's totally unwarranted to put it in the game, quite frankly.
Some are simple, while others are more complex. Unless you're a fan of skiing, you probably won't know what a slalom is. Plus, if you damage the other cars around you too much, you have to start over. Number 27, A Cold Day in Hell, Max Payne.
Oh. Is this the platforming one?
In theory, confronting your severely damaged protagonist with haunting dream sequences of his family's demise is a fantastic idea. In execution, though, it's a test in patience. Max finds himself in a nightmare where he must relive some of his troubled past, and the developers seemingly wanted to make it just as hard on us.
Yeah, okay. I thought this might have been it, and look, I haven't played through this level in a very, very, very long time, but I do remember it from when I was playing the game on the Xbox original back in the day. And in my 20s, I was a lot better at video games. I can assure you right now, if I went back to this whole sequence now, I probably would just throw a controller against the wall and be done with it. I think I'm probably going to stick to Max Payne 3. Yeah, I remember this one. This is what I was thinking.
At a certain point, you'll have to navigate a maze in a pitch black room with only a thin red line as your path. It is very easy to get turned around in here, or fall off the side and have to start over.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a baby crying the entire time, which doesn't exactly help you focus.
No, please God, no.
Because the whole level's
Number
so
26,
dark too, you just
the
want it to be
underwater
done.
base,
It's uncomfortable.
Earthworm Jim. Time limits are a natural stress causer in any video game. This level in Earthworm Jim gets frustrating when players climb into a small submarine to navigate narrow paths. There are two things that make this a pain. One is that Jim has 30 seconds of oxygen and must stop to refill at specific spots. Another is that running into walls causes the glass to crack, putting you at further risk of death. The second section is worse. While you start with 100 seconds of air, the path is significantly longer, with a hit.
This is just another one of those games where I would never even play this whole experience and get this far. There was just this thing in the early 90s where, like, just passable or average games would be looked at as being better than what they are because they would have a cool mascot. So things like Battletoads, Earthworm Jim, and many others, right? And there are people that love this game, but I can't see it. I find the platforming to be frustrating, the enemy placement and the hitboxes to be frustrating, and just the whole experience for me is totally unfun. Can someone please explain to me what the hype is with Earthworm Jim? I will never ever get this far in a million years, nor do I want to.
Hidden refill station that's easy to miss. As the time ticks down and the sub cracks at every collision, it's hard not to tense up.
Whole game gives me PTSD, not just one level.
Number 25, Mugged, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Another example. Everyone loved Conker's Bad Fur Day because you had a furry mascot that used a lot of bad language. One of the most boring intros to a video game ever, just this big, massive, long, unskippable cutscene. And then you have to do this kind of like tutorial level where you don't even know where to go, and it's just an empty, lifeless stage, and obviously the game's going to pick up and get better after that. But you only get one chance to make a first impression, and I always get really bored with this one before it even starts. But okay, let's have a look. Another overrated game.
When it comes to Conker's Bad Fur Day, most are quick to praise it for its over-the-top humour and violence. What can be frustrating, however, is how it switches gameplay styles or mechanics for individual sections.
Yeah, just
During
like
the prehistoric
Battletoads.
level, Conker will be mugged by a group of cavemen. In order to reclaim his hard-earned cash, he'll have to chase after them on a hoverboard. This race can be infuriating, primarily because you have to hit each individual racer to get some money back. There's also a dinosaur crossing the track that's easy to run into, and on top of them being fast, knocking out a couple of racers causes the track to change. Get ready to crash a lot.
Yeah, that looks really tedious. That looks really tedious. Especially those old school
Number
Nintendo
24,
64 cameras.
Path of Pain, Hollow Knight.
Ah, well this is what I've got to look forward to because I'm about to do my first playthrough of this, hopefully. So let's have a look.
Pretty accurate name, that one. In general, Hollow Knight is a challenging game, but the Path of Pain will make you miss the rest of it. added in the Grim Troop DLC, this level can be found in the White Palace, itself infamous among players for its difficulty.
Oh, this kind of looks like some Super Meat Boy style-ish right here. That's the vibes I'm getting, you know, Super Meat Boy?
It requires the most precise platforming you can muster. There are a ton of spinning blades, and most walls and floors are covered in prickly vines. You'll also have to dash through several tricky spots, and bounce off enemies and spikes using your weapon. Simply put, there's no way to make it through this without a lot of trial, error, and anger.
Oh gosh, you know what? Maybe I need to stay in my lane. Maybe Hollow Knight is not for me, hey. I've had this game for about 7-8 years and I still haven't played it. That's probably not going to change now.
Number 23, The Alchemist.
Yeah.
Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage.
Yeah, now when you start to get to the deceptively cutesy games like this is where you really start to traumatize little Billy and little Jemima, right? You would think a game like this would be suitable for ages 5 to 9, but this is exactly the reason why they're going to be laying on the psychologist chairs when they become full-grown adults, I'm just saying.
Ask any player their least favourite type of level, and there's a good chance Escort Mission will be their answer. Spyro 2 may be a wonderful sequel, but it still features one of gaming's most enraging escort missions. In Fracture Hills, Hunter will ask Spyro to bring him the alchemist who accidentally encased his feet in stone. Said alchemist actually isn't that far away, yet he takes the longest possible path, and one that's filled with enemies.
Will you
So annoying.
escort me past
I mean, that's
those
why natural
old
selection's a
shepherds?
thing.
He'll run straight into them too, instead of just letting you handle them until the coast is
Yeah, he's
clear.
got no brains.
It only takes a
What are you
single
doing?
hit before you have to start over, easily making it the worst part of the game.
Don't forget, you can't control the cameras back in this time period either. You got that
Number
one camera
22,
angle.
The Impossible Lair. Ukulele and the Impossible Lair.
Far out. I mean, most of these games I've heard of, I know vaguely of this game, but I tell you what, they've gone through so many different games of so many different eras. I mean, kudos to Watch Mojo, give them a sub. The amount of effort and research they've gone into for this list, it looks like they've played literally everything.
It may not be as famous as other levels on our list, but trust us that it deserves its inclusion.
Alright.
The plot of this platformer has you freeing members of the Beta line in every level, each of which give you an extra hit point for use in the Impossible Lair, available to take on whenever you want.
Looks
We
like there's a
know
lot
the
going
name
on.
should tip us off, but the difficulty spike here is so far beyond anything the rest of the game prepares you for. Even with every single bee, there are no checkpoints, and it goes on for an absurdly long time.
That's definitely a problem with the game design, because a really good game, whether it's challenging, easy, or somewhere in between, will ease you into its mechanics, ease you into its flow. And so the good game will give you a flow state basically as the player. So you'll start from level 1, 2, 3, keep going, and it'll gradually up the intensity. But you're getting into a flow state, so you're ready for that challenge. And yeah, if you're going to have a relatively easy experience and then throw a level like this in there, that's pretty bad game design.
Plus, a lot of the traps require perfect timing that you have to wait for, adding tedium to an already maddening level.
Yeah, I think it's a no for me.
Number 21, Wrong Side of the Tracks.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas.
What's really up? Hey, thinking of taking a little ride. 3 Deep mentioned a little something.
Yeah,
might
look,
put-
you know what? I think we can all agree that Grand Theft Auto 3 has got an absolutely amazing storyline and aesthetic. We love it, right? But I just think compared to Vice City was a little bit less is more. Basically, you know, it was like basic drive around the map, do story missions and things like that. Occasionally you had to worry about side stuff, like second half of the game, get storefronts and earn extra money and things like that. But it kept everything pretty simple. There were just so many mechanics in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas that made the game more frustrating. And some people liked it. You know, they tried to add an element of realism, like with going to the gym and things like that. And that wasn't for me. It just felt like too much fluff. And so it already kind of lost me here. I never played this one to completion. But yeah, I've always known this game has had some famous remote control missions, which absolutely broke players. To be fair, Vice City did too. I'm glad they rectified that in later versions.
put us deeper in the game.
All right, I'm down.
All we had to do was follow the train. But sometimes, things aren't so easy. Big Smoke. In this mission,
Yeah, I've
CJ
rage
must
quitted
chase
this
after
one.
a train in which a group of Vagos members are riding on top of. Unfortunately, you have to do it on a dirt bike and rely on Big Smoke's aim in order to take them out. You have to balance your distance from the train car so that Smoke can actually hit them, made harder by later turns and obstacles like cars and other trains.
I honestly thought they were going to include the remote control level in this. I'm surprised. This one was pretty tough. This one was tough.
If you fail, which many of us did, frequently, the mission isn't reloaded. Unless you had the foresight to save right beforehand, you have to backtrack all the way across town in order to try again.
Yeah, that was so annoying, and they didn't fix that until Grand Theft Auto 5. And actually, the only reason I don't stream Grand Theft Auto 4 is because it had the same problems as the PlayStation 2 generation. If you go and do a mission and then fail, you'd have to drive all the way back to where the person was giving the mission, and then to the mission, and then it was just so much fluff and so much messing around. I'm so happy for casual gamers. Grand Theft Auto 5 improved the checkpoint system. I hope these games get redone with that, actually, because it'd probably get people give them a chance and have a try one more time. But
All we had to
yeah,
do
I mean, we
was
did
follow
get the
damn
trilogy
train,
right,
CJ.
and it wasn't what I
Number
was hoping
20,
for.
The Guy, Super Meat
Oh, we
Boy.
mentioned this earlier. Yeah, this is the game like that Hollow Knight one I was talking about. Yeah, I've got this. I mean, I've never gotten this far.
There are
Jerky, look at
understandably
this.
a lot of rage-inducing levels in Super Meat Boy. That's kind of the point. However, the one that will make you feel more anger than most is a hidden level in Chapter 5. Inspired by the near-impossible freeware game I Wanna Be the Guy, these spike-filled sections, 3 in total, are sure to up your blood pressure.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, this is not for me.
They
Oh,
seem so simple to look at, but actually playing through them is a nightmare. If one of your jumps is even a hair off in its precision, you'll go careening straight into a spike and have to start that part of the level over. The third section
Fuck
is obviously
that.
the toughest. Those high-speed spike walls are brutal.
yeah, I can tell you right now, guys, we're not going to get anything remotely as what seems as impossible as this level in Super Meat Boy right now. Hey, if you've beaten Super Meat Boy, let me know. I've never ever seen a streamer do it before. Maybe I'm watching the wrong streams. But, yeah, I celebrate just passing one level in this game, quite frankly. To celebrate
Number
the little
19,
victories, move on.
Blighttown, Dark Souls.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, Blighttown was a shit. It was horrible.
Along with most of From Software's catalogue, there are a lot of sections in Dark Souls that are going to cause frustration. The one that scarred players the most was Blighttown, a gigantic poisonous swamp. The upper area can be confusing with its multitude of moving bridges, easily turning you around. The actual swamp lower down, on the other hand, is even worse. There are plenty of tough enemies prowling around, many of which will inflict poison damage, and some of which will be able to do so from afar. Traversing this hellhole eventually leads you to Quilag's domain, where you'll have to fight the titular witch. Just like every other enemy in this game, that isn't exactly easy.
But I mean, let's just all agree that you have to be a special type of masochist to play a Souls game anyway. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that play the Souls games that will agree that this level was very, very tough, but everyone's probably going to have their own favorite difficult level. As a casual gamer who can only last usually 5 seconds, I'm just going to say that they're all hard and move on here.
Number 18, Labyrinth
Oh,
Zone,
yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
And I just want to say, this is Labyrinth Zone is the underwater levels of Sonic the Hedgehog 1, right? And there is one underwater level in Scrap Brain Zone towards the end before you beat the final boss. I feel like I would rather do that 10 out of 10 times over before I do Labyrinth Zone. It's right in the middle of the game, and this was definitely a big difficulty spike. When I was a kid, this was the level that I would barely ever get past, actually. Super frustrating. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. The trauma you get from trying to have enough oxygen throughout the
Water
level
levels are
as
usually
well.
some of the most notoriously frustrating stages developers can include in their games.
Yeah.
Sonic can't swim, so his immense speed doesn't help him when it comes to the Labyrinth Zone, the 4th level in the game. Even if you're managing things, you won't be able to escape the infamous drowning theme, which originated here and can cause stress in even the surest of players.
Gosh. They include that noise in so
Combined
many
with
Sonic
traps and
games
enemies,
too.
the slowed movement and panic-inducing music will ensure Sonic's watery grave at least a few times. The level's third act is naturally the hardest. On top of worrying about drowning, the game throws seemingly endless spikes and exploding enemies at you.
Love Sonic 1, but the quicker I get Labyrinth Zone done, the better. But I absolutely love Sonic 1.
Number 17, Waterfall.
Oh, really? Hey, you know what? I'm not the world's best Contra player, but I do play a lot of Contra lately. And I do agree that the middle levels in Contra are harder than the end game, to be honest. With that being said, I didn't find the waterfall that bad. The level I found really bad was after you do the base and the boss after the waterfall, the level after that. You know, the one with all the fire beams and everything you have to avoid? Screw that. I thought that, personally, for me, was the hardest level. But let me know which Contra level you thought was the hardest. This one's not so bad. At least, I mean, look, I don't do great on it.
This classic platformer epitomised the phrase Nintendo hard by flooding your screen with enemies and giving you a single hit health bar. It likely caused many players to memorise the Konami code and start with 30 lives rather than 3. However, that probably still didn't help much when it came to the third level. As the only stage in the game that scrolls vertically, you have to ascend through a hail of gunfire.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to pay attention to everything going on, and sometimes the bullets blend in with the waterfall, so that is a little bit tricky.
The layout certainly takes some getting used to, but it's far harder in co-op. If one player moves up too quickly, it will cause the screen to move and kill the other. It makes you communicate about movement, but that's a lot easier without a horde of enemies trying to murder you.
Red Shot will always make this boss a lot easier too.
Number 16. The Library.
This has been a long time.
That's a good idea.
Of all the enemies in Halo, the Flood still terrifies us. But being trapped in a restrictive library while they're swarming all over the place will do that to you. During the campaign's 7th mission, Master Chief is confronted by the aptly named parasites on a near constant basis. What makes the level so frustrating is how quickly they move and how slowly you're forced to progress.
Look, it depends. I mean, I was always playing Halo on a low difficulty. I'm not the best player when it comes to FPS. It was definitely challenging. Nothing that broke me or anything. In hindsight, there's probably more difficult levels, even though I'm just not thinking of what they are off the top of my head. But I didn't personally think this area was that bad. Again, probably depends on the difficulty that you're playing on, though. Long time ago. Plus, I had those 20-year-old reflexes. I'm nearly 45 now.
You'll be following 343 Guilty Spark around, who isn't exactly nimble, and who must pause to slowly override locked doors. And at every one of them, players will have to unload all their weapons just to keep the Flood at bay. The ones with rocket launchers are a particular pain. Number 15, The Snowstorm. Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, was this with the Jake campaign? Because I don't remember this. Because I've only finished and played this with Jake once. I usually always play with Leon, which is a great cinematic experience. I sometimes play with Chris if you want a more guns a-blazing experience. I feel like the Jake campaign was a little mix of everything. A little bit of mix of action, a little bit of mix of stealth. It tried to be too many things. It was kind of like the Battletoads of Resident Evil 6. And I do remember some really infuriating sections in that game, so that's for sure. Out of all the characters I've played and actually completed the game with, Jake was the hardest. Don't even get me started on Ada, though. I started playing like the stealthy Ada puzzle-based parts of the game, and I was just like, nope, moving on.
Supergirl, that's good looking.
There are a lot of frustrating things about Resident Evil 6, but in terms of gameplay, Chapter 2 in the story of new protagonist Jake takes the cake. It sees him and ally Sherry beset by several types of enemies at once. But what makes it unbearably difficult is the fact it all takes place in the middle of a blizzard.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to line your shots up with constant snowfall covering the screen. The enemies themselves are, of course, more annoying because of this. Some of them are quick-moving flyers, while others take pot shots with sniper rifles. And the snow doesn't seem to hinder their sight. It's all an annoying mess.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't look too fun, does it? I don't think I'll play with
14,
Jake anytime
the
soon.
High Road.
Oh,
Crash
wow, here we
Bandicoot.
go. Yeah, the High Road, also Road to Nowhere, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter if you play this on the original Crash Bandicoot or on the on the remake, excuse me, the remaster, whatever you want to call it. This level is absolutely fun. I mean, excuse my language. But out of every Crash Bandicoot 1 level I remember playing, there was only 2 I got stuck on. And I think one of them was that one where you had to, like, climb this castle wall. Forgive me the name of it. It was around this period, actually. It was around this part of the game. But, yeah, this one I remember took me the longest to complete. It sucks. My friend was trying to beat this on the remaster on holidays, and he was spending the whole holidays on it.
One of the hardest 3D platforming stages in existence, the High Road from Crash Bandicoot can make you want to snap a controller in two. The late game level features all the worst types of platforms. Narrow ones with little space to stand,
the falling
ones
platforms.
that break after just a moment of standing on them,
Oh.
and ones made of ice that send you sliding over the edge.
There's that lovely checkpoint box. Yeah, this is a
Some of
traumatic
its
level.
jumps are excruciating as well, requiring Crash to hop onto a turtle to gain enough momentum. It was made even more frustrating in the remake since, while physics and controls were updated, stage layout wasn't.
Yeah,
There's
so
no
I'm not
rough
going
areas,
crazy,
and the
because I
High
thought it
Road
was
needs
just
more
as hard,
lives
if
than
not
any
harder,
other
in the
game.
remaster. Yeah, screw that. Oh. Oh, look at this crap
Number
up here.
13. Welcome to the Machine. Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even know how to pass a level in Echo the Dolphin. Here on my channel, we call this a D-Wayne game. If you watch, you know that's exactly what we mean by that. Yeah, just the whole game, Echo the Dolphin's a no from me. But let's listen. It's a no from me.
One might expect a game where you play as a dolphin to be pleasant, but that is definitely not the case with Echo. Players must combat an invasive alien army throughout
Is
the
it
game,
auto-scrolling level?
culminating when Echo visits their home planet.
Music's so trippy. Like acid trip.
Welcome to the Machine is an auto-scroller with an abundance of paths, giving it a maze-like quality, as well as a plethora of ways to kill you. Unless you're able to memorize the exact routes, Echo is going to get crushed. If he's not, it'll be the drones that dive in from off-screen that do you in. All of this is plenty awful, but it's compounded by the fact that there are no checkpoints.
It looks like either an insect head or an alien head. Maybe it's an alien insect.
Number 12. Can't wait to be king.
You know
Light.
what? It's funny because I Can't Wait to Be King. This is the infamous level 2. And, you know, I've never gotten past this level, not ever. Just between jumping on the giraffes, the hippopotamuses, and swinging between the monkeys and whatever, I just don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm sure if you can actually persevere through this level, there's an absolutely wonderful experience waiting for you in a great Disney game. But alas, I do not have the patience for this level. When it comes to Disney games, I think I will stick to Aladdin. That's absolutely fantastic.
King.
I like the music in this, but the fact that you keep losing all the time, it starts getting
Even if you
rage-inducing.
haven't played this tie-in, there's a good chance you've heard about its ridiculously
that.
high difficulty for a children's game. The second level, which recreates the I just can't wait to be king sequence, is far less enjoyable to play through than it is to watch. Simba uses a variety of animals to get through different platforming sections. Riding an ostrich and jumping over quick incoming hazards is certainly tricky. However, the most irksome sections deal with monkeys that toss Simba between them. You can roar to make pink monkeys change their directions, but with most hidden off screen, there's still no telling where you'll end up without a lot of trial and error. It takes the utmost patience to make it through. Number 11. The Great Maze. Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Oh, right. Jeez, this has been a long time. Oh, the
Super Smash
Nintendo
Bros.
Wii one.
Brawl is often considered one of the weaker entries. Something it has above all others, though, is the Subspace Emissary, a grand story mode that brings in all characters. However, right before you reach the final boss, you're hit with a level that is both boring and frustrating.
Yeah, I have to admit, I didn't play this mode to completion, but I think it was a nice idea, because I think still at this point, there wasn't a lot of online gaming with Nintendo. I mean, you had a great Nintendo Wii version of Mario Kart, which had seamless multiplayer, at least in my experience. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. But, you know, I guess Smash Brothers hadn't really taken its place in the online universe yet. It was still being played in competitions in person, right? So I think it was a wonderful thing that they actually added a solo player experience to give it more depth. And quite frankly, I like that they don't forget about the solo experience to this day, Nintendo, because I thought the adventure mode, while on the new Nintendo Switch version, probably didn't completely hit the mark. It was a nice way to play the game like at your own pace without being competitive against other people as well. But, I mean, I didn't think this was a bad entry of Smash Brothers. I used to play it a lot, but let's see what he's got to say.
Not only does the Great Maze recycle all the level environments you've already played through, but also many of the boss and mini-boss fights. The layout is exceptionally annoying, since you'll often reach a dead end and have to work your way back.
Oh
It's
yeah,
meant
that's
to act
annoying.
as a
Oh,
penultimate
look at that!
challenge,
It's a
but all it manages
Metroidvania!
to do is suck out all the fun the story mode had managed to build up.
Yeah, that's fair. I think,
Number 10.
yeah.
LFIL, Brace of the Haligtree, Elden Ring.
Yeah, okay. And so, like I said, I played Elden Ring for 20 minutes. I bought Elden Ring on launch day. I bought Elden Ring on launch day. What was it, 2022? The start of 2022 it came out, right? I got it on launch day, played it for 20 minutes, and never touched it again. My stress threshold is just not what it should be to play games like this. It just is what it is. I'm sorry I can't offer a bigger opinion on Elden Ring than that, but let's see what Watch Mojo has to say.
It's good to see that From Software has never lost its edge amidst the pleas for an easy mode, but that doesn't mean we can't get frustrated when its games pummel us into the ground. As an optional dungeon found during the endgame, LFIL is reserved for the most hearty of players. It's a massive castle filled with plenty of branching paths, so there's a lot to uncover here. Unfortunately, exploring means encountering the toughest enemies the game has to offer. Given the studio's reputation, that's saying a lot. It's an onslaught of damage that you'll likely be unprepared for no matter what. It ends with the fight against Melania, who quickly became known as the most grueling boss in the game.
Solution, just grind for a whole
Number
month
9,
and max out
the
everything.
Great Palace. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
Oh. Yeah, so Zelda 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I actually just streamed this today. Do I think the Great Palace is the hardest level on Zelda 2 or should be in this list? I think the hardest thing about the Great Palace is, A, if you've never done it before, there's lots of like misleading corridors that will get you lost, which will include dead ends and will make you go all the way back to the beginning of the palace, if that makes sense. And then second of all, there's all these blue birds that you need to avoid, because you could possibly beat them, but they will take like 10 hits, and by the time you've hit them 10 times, they've probably already killed you, so it's best to try and outrun them as quick as you can. So yeah, this is a pretty frustrating level. A special mention to the Death Valley in this as well. That was also a pretty tricky challenge when you were low level. Yeah, you know what? I think this is a worthy pick. I forget just how hard it is because I'm pretty good at beating this now, but it's a good pick.
The second Zelda game is probably the hardest in the whole series, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to learn that its final level is a doozy. The Great Palace has a lot of factors that can cause irritation.
Yeah, these freaking birds.
There are a literal ton of enemies, most of which are excessively powerful, some of which shoot fireballs from afar, and others that are so intimidating, they only show up here.
Yeah, look at that blue bird. It's the worst. Oh.
Add on an absurd amount of floors to backtrack through and plenty of traps to fall into, and navigating this gauntlet is sure to make you suffer. That's not to mention two bosses instead of one, the Thunderbird and Dark Link, both of which are naturally pretty tough.
You just have to do the duck stabby stab in the Dark Link battle. Thunderbird's
Number
really
8,
tough.
Stage 6-2.
Oh,
Ninja Gaiden.
yeah. I'm actually surprised that they didn't include any of the levels for Ninja Gaiden 3, but I mean, I'll take this one. This one was a doozy.
Ninja Gaiden shows players how deadly the life of a ninja can be, especially in this infamous level. The objective here is as simple as it is in all the rest. Reach the end without dying too much. What makes this near impossible, however, is the onslaught of enemies.
I think if I'm not mistaken, once you get this far into the game, if you lose, you have to go all the way back to the start of the world, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know in the comments. But in the early part of Ninja Gaiden, you know, if you died on world like 3-2, for example, you'd respawn on world 3-2. But once you got close to the end game, it was brutal. You'd have to start all the way back at the start of the world. It wasn't fun.
Some of them are placed in cheap locations, while others dive bomb you from the side of the screen. And since any step in either direction, no matter how slight, causes those off-screen enemies to respawn, you'll have your work cut out for you. It's also a pretty lengthy stage. Considering each level has a time limit, there will be no moments of peace here.
Jeez, yeah. Oh, the knockbacks are terrible. And the respawning enemies. You just go one pixel off the
Number
screen,
7,
they respawn.
Aztec, GoldenEye 007.
Yeah, I just want to know, is this level hard because of the level design, or is it hard because you're trying to fight the controls? I know nostalgia's a hell of a drug, and fanboys of GoldenEye are not going to admit it, but the control scheme on this absolutely sucked. We are very spoiled now with the ease of handling first-person shooters these days, and so, I don't know. I mean, let me know.
We all have fond memories of pouring hours into GoldenEye, whether it be the iconic multiplayer or the campaign recreated from the movie. But none of our fond memories are of this place. The Aztec level is unlocked after completing the story on normal difficulty, and it is much harder than the game will have prepared you for. Every enemy, including the powerful Jaws, will have high-powered weapons on top of improved accuracy and reaction time.
Even on normal,
which is to say
huh?
they're going to hit you, and it is going to hurt.
You have to use the environment to your advantage, I guess.
If you die, when you die, you'll be forced to start the level over. This is where your skills as an agent are really put to the test. Number 6, The Meat Circus, Psychonauts.
I've always passed this game, but I've never tried it.
Nobody's supposed to know about it.
You know things are bad when later releases have to fix a level's difficulty. Psychonauts tasks players with platforming through the minds of its various zany characters. The final level, Meat Circus, is the product of two psyches brought together. However, it also brings elements that are exceedingly maddening. One section has you escort a character with little health, while others are comprised of unforgiving platforming.
I like the art
You have
style. I
little
get the
lives,
Crash
very few
Bandicoot vibes.
checkpoints, and some of your objectives are simply unclear. It has a reputation for its massive spike in difficulty, making it an unbalanced nightmare in an otherwise extremely enjoyable game.
Yeah, let me know what this is like to play. I know it's really, really famous, but I've not tried it. It kind of visually looks like a cross between like a Crash Bandicoot and a Medieval on the PlayStation 1. It looks really unique.
It was scaled back so that future players could actually end on a positive note.
I think this is available on the new PlayStation, right, digitally? I'll have to have a look. Did they ever
Number
remaster
5,
it?
Farewell.
Oh,
Celeste.
I've got this. Oh, this game's just like frustrating, just like Super Meat Boy. Everyone loves this, but I find it so hard.
Even some of the most beautiful, emotionally fulfilling games can have levels that make you
Oh,
want to
this is
rip
hard.
your hair out. Celeste is one of those games. Following its release, the developers issued a free DLC titled Farewell. To say it made every other level look like a cakewalk would be an understatement, which is saying a lot considering how tough the majority of the game is.
Yeah, you're not far off going into Mario Kaizo playing this game. It's pretty nuts.
Farewell was designed with the hardcore in mind. It's incredibly long, and some areas are mostly hazards with a small safe path, and with no spots to rest. It also enforces techniques you'd really only need beforehand if you were speedrunning.
Bro, like, I bought this for the Steam Deck because I thought it might be a nice little fun... I'm laughing now. I thought it might be a nice little fun casual platforming game. But for full precision and you're holding this big heavy Steam Deck, it's kind of clunky and you try to do these really like technical sections of the level. Nah, you need to have yourself a monitor and the most comfortable game controller possible to have any chance of Celeste. I found this difficult. I had to uninstall it off the
any
deck.
of its assist modes will be strong. Number 4. Through the Fire and Flames. Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock.
Yeah, we obviously playing it on max difficulty though.
You may scoff to find a Guitar Hero track so high, but that must mean you've never tried to make it through Dragon Force's Through the Fire and the Flames. One of the shreddiest metal songs in existence, this track will have your fingers stumbling all over the keys, even on the lowest difficulty. You won't even have time to register what's happening before you're at least another dozen notes behind. And at that point, you might as well start over.
Yeah, I have these problems too. I play a game called DJ Max 5 Respect. I'm not going to digress too much, but it's kind of similar, but you're using the keyboard, not a guitar, right? And I can only play at absolute most the 4-button keys, as well as on like a hard difficulty. Once you get to maximum or the difficulty above that, I mean, not even my friends who mainly play it from Japan and Korea with the big ninja fingers can freaking key. I mean, I don't know how anyone does this. I don't know how you got two things, right? Your brain has to react, and then your fingers actually have to also have the dexterity to move that quick. And some people can actually complete this level, right? Phenomenal. I wonder if they could use those abilities somehow in their real life to enhance their time on this planet. They should.
That was the pain many of us felt when attempting to conquer this track. Only those who practiced over and over could perfect the timing. With songs like this, Legends of Rock was a suitable name.
You are a legend if you can do it. Jeez, look how quick that is.
Number 3. The Dam.
The Dam is not that bad. Look, when it comes to the original Ninja Turtles, I always say people are usually losing more to themselves in the panic than the actual level itself. I have done a tutorial on this before. And look, I'm not an expert. People can do this even cleaner than me. But if you know where all the bombs are and the quickest route to take, you've already won. So in my opinion, the hardest part's actually learning the maze. When you know where everything is and the quickest way to get there, which takes some time and a few goes, obviously, it gets a little bit easier because you're not panicking. I feel like when people try to rush and panic, they start unnecessarily hitting like laser beams and all that. And look, sure, there is that reed section from hell that's very, very intimidating and very tough. But that aside, the rest of the game is not that bad as long as you know where to go in the quickest and most proper way possible.
In the late 80s, the Ninja Turtles were everywhere. Kids may have been excited to get an NES game with the heroes in a half shell, but that excitement turned sour almost immediately, with one of the most famously unfair levels in gaming history.
It's pretty early in the
underwater
game.
section has you defuse 8 bombs as one of the turtles. The swimming controls are pretty poor, but that's not the worst part. There's also electric seaweed surrounding pretty much everything, leaving you little room for error.
You can avoid that. It's the big section up the top. That's the only really bad. See, that's just clumsy. So you weren't patient.
Still, maybe players could have done this slowly. If
Swimming
not for
against
the
the
time limit
current's
of
tough.
2 minutes and 20 seconds. It basically forces you to act quickly, ensuring you'll get killed in the process.
Yeah, but again, it's just about knowing where to go the quickest.
Number 2. The Perfect Run. Super Mario Galaxy 2.
I haven't played Mario Galaxy 2. I do have this in my collection still, I think. I think that's still... I have to have a look.
Super Mario Galaxy 2's Grandmaster Galaxy is a gauntlet, bringing together many of the mechanics, enemies, and platforming elements seen across the game. It's the final level you unlock, so it naturally poses a pretty big challenge. But after you've beaten it, you then have the option to do it again. Only this time, you die in one hit, and there are no checkpoints. With so many different ways to die here, it's probable you'll experience all of them during the Perfect Run.
I'm getting like Fall Guys vibes from this section.
It'll take everything in you not to snap your Wiimote in half once you reach the double digits. Anyone can play Mario, but only the strongest can reach this level's end. Number 1. Turbo Tunnel. Battletoads.
Yeah, you know, on the Sega Genesis, I thought the Turbo Tunnel was a little bit easier. But, you know, you obviously had the Cave of Wonders and Aladdin on the Sega Genesis, and everyone thought that was really tough. But anyone that has never played Battletoads, they just have no idea what tough actually is. This is definitely one of the hardest levels of all time for me. I mean, I guess some people will argue once you learn how to do it, it's like riding a bike. But I've been on and off trying to play this level many times over the years. Very occasionally I will pass it. More often than not I don't, because I rage quit and have a big temper tantrum before that happens. It's terrible. I'll let Mojo explain.
Battletoads is one of the most challenging, frustrating games ever created. It's even harder in co-op since there's no way to turn off friendly fire. It reaches peak difficulty and, as a result, iconism during the Turbo Tunnel level.
You're so early in the game too, man. Like level 3. You could have maybe waited till the end
standard
game.
beat 'em up gameplay, you'll be forced to make it the rest of the way on bike. The bike speed is so immense you'll barely have time to think before you crash into one of the many walls.
Sure.
But that's only the first section. As it goes on, you'll also need to hit
jumping on
ramps,
those ramps.
dodge holes and other hazards, all of which come at you with lightning fast speed. This level will likely remain in infamy for all time.
I think so. I mean, we're still talking about it in 2025. It's a pretty special level. Yeah, okay. I think I need to take a cold shower after watching all these. There were some pretty hard levels. Probably played half of them. Other ones I was just learning today. Either way, it was an incredible list. Thank you very much, Watch Mojo. What do you think is a level that should have been included, guys? Let me know in the comments. And we'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.